to Table Talk with Toddy, a podcast for millennials designed to motivate, inspire, and educate you on what it really takes to live a real life on purpose. This isn't your typical podcast. You can count on me to keep it real, funky, and relatable here on Table Talk with Toddy.
Hey guys, it is Natasha Toddy Weston, and you are listening to the Table Talk with Toddy podcast. Welcome back. We are now in the third season of the show, and honestly, the time crept up on me, so I'll just go ahead and put this out there. I don't have any notes, tips, or tricks. This episode is definitely coming straight from the heart. So today is, I don't even know what day it is. I just know it's Wednesday. I think it's like July 9th. And it is 10:42 p.m. where I live. So it is late. Early for me because I'm normally up till 2-3 o'clock in the morning on a regular. And I don't drink coffee. So pray for me. But I wanted to wait intentionally to record this tonight because I have a lot to say. I don't have my normal outline of episodes for the season yet, and that's because I'm in this whole space where I have to just go with the flow. I have to go with what feels right. I have to tell you guys what feels good, what feels right. I won't even say what feels good because sometimes just because it doesn't feel good doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be discussed. And this season, I definitely am looking forward to it being different and a lot more raw than it has been. I definitely try to hold true to my values, and by values I don't mean like the typical stuff you hear. And when I say values, I mean just staying true to myself and true to what I believe, because while everyone may not agree with me on some things, I do believe that my truth is someone else's truth as well. And so this podcast I have missed. Oh my gosh, I have missed it so much. It has been, I think the last episode was in April. And guys, I did not take a break because 2 weeks later, I launched the Brain You Like a Boss podcast series. And so I think I had a 2-week break between the last episode. So episode 24, this is episode 25. So I had like a 1 to 2 week break before that started, and it was so amazing. All of the episodes were guests, and we had some phenomenal people, and I was actually getting requests to keep that podcast going, but I decided to not do it because this is truly my baby. Table Talk with Toddy. For those of you who may just be listening for the first time this season, this started as a blog for me. I think I want to say like in 2012, 2013. And it was a blog. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I just wanted to start a blog, and that blog was about all sorts of things. I had no niche whatsoever. I had no one lane. I talked about fashion. I talked about entertainment, music, talked about business, entrepreneurship, social media. I mean, it was all over the doggone place. But it was therapy for me then. And when I shut it down to write my first book, I didn't want to go back to blogging because I don't think I'm a blogger at heart. I have so much in me to say. It's just a lot quicker and easier for me to just say it verbally. So that's why I think I've fallen so in love with Table Talk with Toddy. And it's been kind of like therapy for me to just be able to share my thoughts audibly. And it's the best way for me to communicate with you guys. And this show originally started, my idea for it was to just be, real talk, the girl next door type of vibe for my millennial peers. And now it's turned into, a place where people all over of all sorts of ages have, given feedback and said how much it's helped them and all of that. So while in the past 2 seasons, I've given you a lot of tips and tricks, and we talked a lot about business and being an entrepreneur, a millennial entrepreneur, this season, I kind of want to refocus a little bit. And like I said before, just go with the flow. A lot has happened since we have last talked here on the podcast. A lot of good, a lot of, I won't say bad, but a lot of transition. And I think, I know that I want this season to be different. I don't want to hold back this season. I try my best to be as, transparent as I can be, but we all know that transparency sounds good, looks good on paper, but it's the hardest thing to do. And, I'm just in a place right now where I have nothing to lose. I feel like I will not be doing the people who are connected to me any service if I'm not. And so when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about for this episode, I'll be honest, I didn't even have a whole bunch of things to pick from. I didn't really know what I wanted to talk about. I knew what I didn't want to talk about. I didn't want to talk about business, really. I didn't want to just talk about, give you 5 or 10 ways to make $1 million because I haven't made $1 million yet. I didn't want to give you 5 tips and tricks to get more followers on social media because, it's so much of that out there. But what there is not enough of is raw, real, open, transparent podcasts that will really dig in the core and speak to your soul. And I'll be honest, the only podcast that I listen to right now that does that is my leaks. And if she ever listens to this, thank you, because everything else is just sort of cookie cutter and watered down and fluffy. And I'm just so over it. I'm at a place in my life where I need realness. And so forgive me now if you hear me cuss. I may cuss. God isn't done working on me yet. I'm still there. Yeah. So no judgment here. And, I'm still in a place where I'm growing. I'm still learning. I'm pretty confident with who I am as a person at this stage of my life. And I think that's why it's never easy to just be transparent, but it's a lot easier than it was before. And so when I had my notebook earlier today and I was like, okay, you got to figure out something to talk about. And I just honestly couldn't come up with a topic. So today's topic, which you'll probably see in the description, is I.D.K. I don't know. I don't know I didn't know what I wanted to name this episode. And it brought a revelation to me when I wrote that down on paper. I just wrote I.D.K. That's all the paper said. And it's something that we as millennials, we put it in text messages. It's like that short abbreviated terminology that our grandparents and our parents don't know what the hell we're talking about, but we do. And we say it a lot. And I don't think that we really stop to think that I don't know is becoming a part of our internal that we're not allowing to happen. So let me explain that. There's a lot of things that I've learned that I didn't know in the last year. I've been an entrepreneur for 8 years, not consecutively. Well, not full time. Let me rephrase that, because I've been an entrepreneur for 8 years consecutively. When I say on and off, I mean I've had my seasons where I've done it full time. I've had my seasons where it was just a side hustle. So 8 years collectively, consecutively. However, what I've noticed is that we are in a time where the thing to do is to look like you know it all, even when you don't have a damn clue. And I've been allowing myself lately to be okay with not knowing something or not knowing what the next step is going to be. People will drive in your head that you got to have a plan B, or your plan A has to work, or if you reach plan C, you're a failure. We hear it all. We hear it so much until it instead of it motivating us, it's causing us to second guess our vision, to second guess our worth. And that's not cool. So you might be listening to this and maybe you don't know how to start your business. Maybe you don't know how to brand yourself. Maybe you don't know how to fix your credit. Maybe you don't know how to fit in. Maybe you're trying to figure out, well, how the heck am I going to lose this weight? Maybe you're trying to figure out how to get more followers. There's a lot of things that we just don't know. And while society is telling us, you got to know this, you got to read another book, you got to sign up for another course, you got to listen to this expert, you got to get this coaching, you got to go to this conference, you got to get advice from this person or that person. Stop. Take a moment. Take a moment to just accept the fact that you don't know. And not knowing is truly a part of this process, especially as millennials. It's important for us to first be aware that we don't know. And it took me all this time. And I wouldn't even say it took me all this time. Honestly, a lot of times it's self-evaluation. We know things, we just don't own up to the shit. Period. Right? So for me, realizing that, okay, you don't know how to do this, but it's okay. Because here's the thing about clarity, because this is another thing that we hear the term thrown around a lot. People always say, what, a confused mind does something. I can't even tell you the quote verbatim right now, but we always hear that you need clarity. You need clarity. You need clarity in life. You need clarity in business. You need clarity in relationships. You need clarity in your friendships. You need clarity in all of this stuff, right? But here's the thing about clarity. Well, not having clarity. Not having clarity is a part of life. It's not a way of life. So what that means is it's okay to be unclear for a period of time. So it's okay for you to be unclear to where you can figure it out. It doesn't have to become a thing that goes on where you're unclear for a year or you're unclear for 5 years, 10 years. Unclarity is a part of life. It's not a way of life. And when I realized that not too long ago, I was able to accept the fact that, girl, these people you're getting advice from, while I know that as a businesswoman, I know that everyone's telling you you're doing something wrong so they can sell you something right. But it's important for us as the person on the other side of the spectrum to understand that, what about the process? What about the process? The people that are giving you the advice and telling you you're doing something wrong, or telling you that your systems aren't right, your funnels aren't right, your presentation isn't right, your visuals aren't right, your website is crap. Like all of the stuff we hear every day, those people had to go through a process to get to where they are to even give you the advice, myself included. Everything that I may tell you in a webinar or in an e-course or in a book, it's being told from a perspective of, okay, I've gone through that process and I'm just trying to tell you how to avoid the pitfalls or the failures. But the reality is that you have to go through your own process, because I don't care how many books you read. I don't care how many courses you sign up for. I don't care how many experts you listen to, follow, and all of that good stuff. You have to figure it out for yourself at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you have to figure it out for yourself. The truth is, I don't know a lot. And this is hard for me to accept, guys. It's hard for me to accept, but I've accepted it. Is it easy? Hell no. Is it going to be easy going forward? Probably not. I don't know. I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. But over the last few months, and this isn't the first time you've heard me talk about it, especially if you've been following me for a while, I've been doing a lot of detoxing. So when I say detox, I don't mean like weight loss. What I mean is I've been unfollowing a lot of people on social media, even people that inspire me. I'll explain in a minute. I've been unsubscribing from a lot of email lists. Why? Because the time I take to delete emails or archive them and I'm never going to read them is wasted energy. Energy in my mental to have to do it, and physical energy because I shouldn't be doing it in the first place, right? So sometimes we clutter things. We subscribe to lists. We never unsubscribe. We're not using any of the information, and it's just cluttering our brains without us even noticing it. So it started with that. I noticed immediately, like I'm talking within the first 24 hours, I got clarity. Answers that I've been praying to God for months, I started to get the answers to. And I know it may sound kind of crazy or like not real, like miracles really don't happen, because some people don't think they do. But it happened for me. I got clarity. As soon as I got clarity, and guys, let me retract. All of this has taken place since Brand New Like a Boss was released on June 21st. And so it's just August, 8th or 9th. It's not a lot of time that has gone by, but a lot has happened since then. So, of course, with the success of the book, because it was tremendously successful, the pressure to keep the momentum up, the pressure to do something greater the next time, the pressure to be this person, do these things, be on this platform that I wasn't even sure of. It was pressure on me. And even though the response to the book was amazing, I'm appreciative of it, it put me in this place where I just felt like I couldn't exceed the expectations that other people had of me. And I'm just being completely honest. And instead of me using that to drive me forward, I found myself depressed. I found myself not really wanting to be around anyone. I found myself just being very distant. And I'm still not even sure what to conclude about it. I'm just being honest. I don't know what to really conclude about it. But that's when I really realized that I don't know a lot of stuff. Like, I don't know a lot of stuff. I don't know what my next step is. I don't have a grand plan of how the rest of this year is going to pan out for my business or for my brand or for my personal life. You know, I don't have like a big map that says, okay, this is what's next. And someone listening to this may say, that's so horrible, but that's just your opinion. And that's where a lot of us are, I won't say making the mistake, but that's where we're missing the mark, because we're allowing the experts and everybody else to tell us what we should be doing. And the thing is, we're not short of information. We're not short of courses. And if you're not careful, it's not going to help you. It's going to hurt you. It's going to hinder you from growing. So here are a few things that I realized, and I did write these down because I didn't want to miss them. You know, I get a ton of things in my head all day, and sometimes if I'm not careful, I'll forget them. So first thing I realized is that I was finding myself explaining my absence or my time away. So I take these little hiatuses from social media, and then I find myself coming back and saying, hey guys, I know you haven't heard from me in a while, but I've been doing A, B, or C. And the truth is, no, you don't owe anyone an explanation for taking time to figure things out or taking time to figure out the thing that you don't know about. And social media is definitely a huge distraction for me. I'm just being honest. It's if I'm not careful, it will consume me. You'll find yourself in a place where you need to be doing other things, and I find myself picking up my phone, looking for notifications, or seeing if someone commented on my post, or if someone shared my post, or if I went live on Facebook, how many people viewed my video since I went off. You know, it becomes almost like an obsessive mental thing. And I think as millennials, it's so important for us to find the balance there. And I don't believe in balance. God knows I don't. But with social media and giving yourself space to figure out the things you don't know, you've got to find some type of boundary. So the thing that has worked for me lately is just taking a couple of days where I just delete the apps off of my phone and just be. And so, you know, it was just that a lot of the people, and going back to me unfollowing people and just kind of pulling away, I was finding that the people I was taking advice from, whether it was direct or indirectly, they were causing me to feel worse about whatever it was than feel good about. And so just because you unfollow someone that inspires you, it doesn't mean that they don't inspire you. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. It doesn't mean that their advice isn't valuable. It just means that when you find yourself second guessing everything you do, then maybe you need to unfollow that person. And it's not a direct reflection on that person, but sometimes to give yourself mental space to breathe, to exhale, it's like the best thing that you can do, seriously. So it brings me to my next point, boundaries. You need boundaries to just be. Boundaries give you that space to just be. So for me, boundaries mean maybe not responding to client text messages over the weekend or emails, and giving myself just a little bit of space to just be me, to just figure things out on my own without the outside influence of anything or anyone. And I don't care who you are, how much influence you have, how much money you have, how much status you have, whatever the case may be, we all need those boundaries, unless we'll continuously make moves and take action based off of what everybody else and their mama is doing. And that's not the best way to operate in life in general. It's not. So just being in this place where you don't know, it's okay. And this is a note to myself as well. It is okay. I'm in a place right now, guys, where I don't know what's going to happen next. There's a lot of things that I planned on doing that didn't happen. And I questioned, okay, why is it not happening? Like, what am I doing wrong? God, are you punishing me? And so I'm going to just be open and honest with you guys about one thing in particular. So the first half of this year, I had, I had my TD Bank keynote. I had a lot of amazing things going on where, things really kind of just flowed. Like, I didn't have no issues traveling. I didn't have anything. Like, things were just going smoothly. I was able to pay my bills, like, for the first time in a long time, pay my rent on time. Like, things were just easy, smoothly sailing, right? Like, from a general spectrum of things, of course. But it seemed like after Brand You Like a Boss came out, it just seemed like, I don't know, it just seemed like God was kind of just isolating me to the extreme. And I said I wasn't going to cry. I'm in a place now where I feel like he's isolating me even more than he has before. And because it's not familiar to me, it's uncomfortable as hell. So when I say isolating me, okay. So I've had about 3 or 4 speaking engagements lined up for the fall winter of this year. One was in New York. One was in DC, which is actually, I'm supposed to be leaving tomorrow, not going again. I'll tell you why in a second. And then I got invited. Lauren Ridinger, as you guys know, she's my mentor. She invited me as a VIP guest again this year for the MarketAmericaShop.com International Convention in North Carolina. And I just got the invitation. I just really connected with her again a few days ago. And so I tried everything I could to make it this week, which I would have had to leave today to get my VIP stuff and be ready for the convention starting tomorrow. But realistically, guys, I couldn't make it. And I tried everything. It was like one of those, and I posted this on social media. It was like, okay, one of those, God, I got 24 hours to make this happen prayers. And God was like, no. And I, up until last night, questioned him, like, God, why? Like, I got access to so many amazing people, so many amazing opportunities. Why are you not allowing these things to happen? Like, why are you shutting the doors in my face? And you know what? I just finally came to the conclusion that, like, everything happens for a reason. I don't know why, but there has to be something greater in the front of me that I can't even see. And I just have to trust that it's for a reason. And so that was just one situation. So again, I was booked for like 4 events coming up. And the first one that was supposed to be in New York, excuse me, guys. First, the date was postponed till September. It was supposed to be July. It was postponed until September. And then I don't know if that's going to happen again either. Then the conference that I was supposed to be speaking at this weekend, I actually backed out of it because, and I'm going to try and say this like in the best way that I can. because I don't want it to get misinterpreted. But this whole thing that Maxine is saying about reclaiming her time, I have to start taking authority of my time. Meaning, I can no longer do events just for the sake of doing events. I have to be more strategic in what I'm accepting, and I have to be more strategic as far as what benefits it will bring me. When the event is over, will it put me in a rut? Will it put me in a bind? Or will it allow me to move forward? And so it was a hard decision to make, but it was one I had to make. And all of the signs were pointing towards cancel, but I was still trying everything in my power to do what I needed to do, just to do it, just to get it out of the way. But again, it goes back to being conscious about what you want and being okay with what you want. So I had to do that, and it's it's like almost like God has me sitting back for something really big. I don't know what it is. I don't know, maybe it's just wishful thinking, but I question it all the time. And so I don't know who this is for, but if you are in a place where God has you sitting down and you got all of the connections and access and opportunity in the world sitting right in front of you, and he kind of knocks the key out of your hand and it's like you can't walk through that door, it's for a reason. And this is a message to myself as well. And I think as millennials, sometimes we definitely get so caught up in the access to people, and this will be a good look for me, this will be a good opportunity, until we're not listening to what God is telling us. And just because an opportunity may seem like the right opportunity, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right opportunity. And so I'm still sick because I'm like on social media and Lauren and they're posting pictures. And if you guys have followed me for a while, you know my story. Lauren, Market America, they are a huge part of my story. In 2013, well, backtrack, in 2012, actually, the end of 2011, early 2012, I was going through a phase where I was trying to figure out what my purpose was, and I stumbled across Lauren's blog, lawrensworld.com, and her blog literally gave me a boost like you wouldn't believe. Like, the articles that she was writing were so inspiring, and I ended up subscribing to her blog, reading her blog every day, and that's when I really started my writing journey. So this was before the blog, this was before my first book. I just started writing my thoughts and my feelings, and I'll never forget, I wrote an article called Embracing Struggle. And I just emailed her, reached out to her through her website. I was like, hey, I've got this article, can you post it on your site, or what's the process of, maybe guest blogging or whatever. I didn't even say guest blogging because I didn't even know that was such a thing. So anyway, emailed her the article. I was like, hey, I wrote this article. Can you check it out? She responds back to me. She's like, hey, I love your writing. I would love for you to be a frequent guest blogger on my site. So that was like the start of Lauren and I's relationship. And from there, she's been so supportive of me, especially as an author. She's done giveaways on her site for me. She's been amazing. And so I guest blogged for her for about 6 to 8 months. And then the Market America International Convention, which is hosted every year in August in Greensboro, North Carolina, was coming up, and she actually invited me as her VIP guest that year. And they flew me out there, put me in the Four Seasons. It was so nice. I'll never forget that experience. And I was actually the official Market America blogger that year. So I got full access. I was behind the stage, behind the scenes in her dressing room. She was so amazing with her Lala, her daughter Amber. It was just an amazing opportunity. The energy was sick. And it was definitely hands down one of the best experiences of my life. And since then, we've been connected. And so when she, invited me a few days ago, it was just like, oh, I would love to be there to just kind of revive myself again, to just suck that energy up again, because it's 25 years. So I know the energy is going to be insane. But God said no. And a part of me is still asking it, why? But I know it's for a bigger reason. I don't know why. And I'm going to stop questioning him. But anyway, I digress. The point of this whole episode, guys, is to let you know that I don't know everything. I don't know. I.D.K. I don't know. And it's okay that I don't know what the next stage is. I'm just going to continue to go with the flow, because when I go with flow, that's when I get my best results in life, period. And I'm going to continue to operate like that. And so I hope this inspires someone, encourages someone somewhere out there, I don't know who's listening, to just go with the flow. Continue to go with the flow. Continue to allow yourself room to figure things out, and give yourself boundaries to figure those things out. Sometimes you have to shut yourself off from the world. And while it may seem very isolating, it is a very isolating and lonely place. Sometimes that is the only way that you will be able to figure things out in the way that you're supposed to figure things out in order to move forward and propel to new levels. And so I'm excited about season 3 of the podcast. It's going to be completely different from what you've had in the past, from what we've experienced in the past, I'm sure. I know I have some guests coming on. And I want to start incorporating like a question and answer on each episode. And I also want to kind of incorporate like some real time trending topics. I know I had written down originally to talk about Cardi B this week, but I already did a YouTube video on her. So I'm not going to beat that horse, but I do want to start incorporating things that we can bring some substantial conversation around as far as things that are happening out here, like in music and entertainment and things of that sort. So again, I don't know what's going to happen next episode or any of the episodes following, but I'm just going to continue to go with the flow, and I hope you guys are going to flow with me. I love you guys so very much for sticking out with me 3 seasons, baby. We're here, and I want you to continue to share it if you don't mind. Leave a review, and I'll talk to you guys in the next